This video is to put into action a proposition put on the groups by several people about using a normal cassette to set the speed of their cassette decks.
Hello, today we're going to do speed checking. How to set your speed on your cassette deck without using special tools. Quite simple. Keep it simple way. Hello again. Welcome to Gary Keep It Simple.
To do this, normally you'd use one of these, or if you were really pushed you might use one of these. But today we're going to use one of these, because this is the easy way to do it if you haven't got the others.
I'm going to use my cassette deck, which you've seen, the W1200, because it has that control on it. And that control is a pitch control, which means speed control.
On the majority of cassette decks, the speed controls are on the back of the motors, behind the little black or the white circles. And you need to be able to get to these to be able to do the adjustments. However, on some decks, they're on PCBs and you have to find them.
I'm going to use the tape that was recorded in the other deck, i.e. that one, and I'm going to play it in that deck, and you can then see what the results are in terms of how it works.
Now, I'm aware this is not a pre-recorded cassette like you'd buy from a shop, but this is one I've had to make up from YouTube library because of the copyright problems, but you would use a proper commercial one. Make sure when you choose one, you pick one you like. You're going to hear it a lot.
I'm going to be playing the track from here, which is like my Samsung tablet, which will have the YouTube track on it. The Blue Danube by Strauss. Anyway, let's get the light back on. So, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to feed that into my main amplifier. So I'm going to feed the output of the teac into my amplifier, which you can see here. So that's the output of my teac. It's going into the AV input of my amplifier in mono, and I'm going to feed the output of the tablet onto the other channel in mono. And I'm using mono because I don't want to have confusion on the tracks. The way I'm going to do it is fairly simple, because I like keeping these things simple. You must, if you're going to do this, you must find a track that you like and that you know. There's no point finding a track that you detest just because it sounds good. And the way it's going to work is that you're going to play it on here. If you get a track that you know, for instance, the Blue Danube track, I'll play it now. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to cue this back to 0 on the tape counter. Right, stop that, counter's reset, and then I'm going to play, and I'm going to line it up on there as well. So that's lined up on there as well. You have to get a tune that you know, because you've got to synchronize them. Now, my deck has got pitch control, which is why I'm using this. So that's in the center ident position. This tape was recorded on a different deck on the other side. So, having lined it up, it's going to be roughly right because they were set up in the same place. But that's not the point. I can show you the differences. Now, if I get this tape running, it's going to start and everything. It's fine. But the trouble I have with this tablet is that it doesn't really like starting, because it's a touch tablet and it's a pain in the bum. So what I'm going to do, you see, it already says 12, so I take that all the way back to there. It just doesn't do it. There we go. Right, that's at 0. So now that's at 0 and that's at 0. And what I want to do is I want to get something running. the easiest way for me is to get the Daniel playing on here. Now, if I find a bit of tune that I know, which we all know the Blue Daniel, but I would guess it's da 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 bum 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 bum. I'm going to find a point where I know that it's specific. So push that now. This is what I mean. It doesn't always start. It's not a problem when you're playing your latest hits. When you're trying to do a test, there we go. Now, I'm going to stop that because what I want to do is I want to get my tape to a specific point. Now, if I now press play on here, right, that's on the second bit where it got loud. Now, what I can do here, and I hope this works, it might not. There we go. Now the cassette deck is fractionally ahead. There you go. Now the digital's fractionally ahead of the cassette deck. The cassette deck's getting quite far behind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the cassette deck go a little bit faster. I'm going to try and resync by stopping and starting on the tablet. Now the cassette deck's ahead.
And now you can see why I said you have to have the track that you like, because you're going to go over it a few times.
Right, the cassette deck's still ahead. Now it's very close. Now what you can't hear is that, because I've got one coming out one side and one coming out the other, I can hear the differences. Now the cassette deck is running near enough spot on. Now it's gaining, so it's getting to be a bit of a gain, so I should turn that back a bit. Now you can hear there's a big difference between the cassette deck and the digital. The digital's the lead now. Now I can leave them just to see which one wins the race. That is such a different, just the flex of the skin on the control. I'm going to have to put it back in using the digital. Just really doesn't want to do it. Now the cassette deck's well ahead. Right, 1, 2. See if I can get a bit closer. That's a fraction. Now the digital is slightly ahead of the cassette deck. I'd say they're about right because they're not closing up. It doesn't matter which one goes ahead, the other one doesn't seem to catch up. Now I don't know whether you'll be able to hear this in mono, but cassette deck is very, very slightly gaining on it. Just pulling it in. Oh, it's so close now. The cassette deck has won the race. It's got slightly ahead. Let's turn it back a fraction. In fact, that's the cassette deck ahead, so I'm going to just do a pause. So now the cassette deck will catch up with it, but it's going to take a long time. If you've ever tried driving down the road, trying to catch up with somebody who's just gone past you when you're pulling away, and then you're doing 30, they're doing 30, you're never going to catch them up. Right. Boom.
After doing this recording for this video, I decided I'd do myself a reference tape and I'd check out the actual balance between the two decks' speed. The end result is that it's a 5.5 Hertz difference between the two. That's what we were chasing originally, and you know, it's not a bad error. I wouldn't worry about it ordinarily. It was only just to show that it can be done, but you need to put it into proportion. If you're going to go chasing around perfection, you're never going to get it. The only way to get a quick result is to use a test tape. Using the reference tape, which is what I did, it took a few seconds to get the result. You can see the pictures on the screen now. Anyway, that's the way it goes. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, put comments. Catch you later. I don't like the new deck. Take it back. All my tapes sound wrong. Yeah, we've heard that one. This correct speed thing, to put it into context, when they play a film back on the TV, it's at 24 frames a second, but the TV's at 50 frames a second, so they speed it up by 1 frame, which gives you an output of 44 Hertz above the 1 kilohertz, i.e. it goes a bit faster, the picture's a bit higher, but nobody ever noticed.